Hello, ladies and gentlemen, this is Zane, and I'm responding to the video, who is better, Sting or Shawn Michaels? Now, this is kind of like the Hogan Flair thing for me, personally, because, honestly, who had the most promotion, for me at least, was considered more of the better wrestler, because both of them had very contrasting styles. They were not mirror images of each other. One did it very differently than the other. But honestly, they were both very good competitors. Now, I managed to see Shawn Michaels back in the late 80s. Sting, I managed to get a little bit during the middle of the 90s. Like I said before, I didn't see a lot of wrestling. And into the 2000s, maybe about 2008, 2009, I managed to see some of Sting on and off. No, 2006, I believe I saw him a couple of times, then 2008, a little bit, and now I watch him from there. So if I have to say who's better, I would say it would be Shawn Michaels, because he was allowed to be more varied in his character. He had a big backing from the company, and even though he spent 4 years out due to a severe back injury, I believe, when he was with The Undertaker, when he hit his back on the casket. I think that was in 1999 or 98. He had been out for a while, but still, he's still considered the best. And I have to admit myself, seeing how Shawn Michaels' career is compared to Sting, and I can understand Sting's decision not to go to the WWE. He believed that there was just too much favoritism. That's what at least I've heard. And he'd rather stay in a company that he felt he would have more meaning for. That's why he mainly stayed, like, with what was left over from WCW, and then when TNA was formed, he went to there. Even though the WWE, if he gave them the opportunity, they take him. No matter how sloppy he is now, if you would consider him sloppy, which I don't. I've seen how he's performed lately. When he was gone for a while, he got back into shape, and he did good this last year. He got himself back into shape after being out for a while. He was kind of sloppy. His in-ring work got better. He didn't get so winded. So the WWE, if he opened the door for them, they will take him. There is no denying they would do that. Just, even if he wasn't even going to be in the ring, just having the icon there would be a big boom for them. So I say between the two, and I'm not saying that Sting is not good. I've had a chance to see Sting a little bit over the last couple of years, and I like him. He's good. At least when he was younger, he was very good. And even though he mainly played a face, he did it very well. So this is my response to the Off the Rope show. Sting basically isn't more higher up than Shawn Michaels, even though you could say that if they're going by mid-card, both of them are upper mid-carders, obviously. But I believe Shawn Michaels had more publicity. He had a very good ability to adjust his character, and he stayed current. That's at least my guess in it. Now, I'm putting this up, and I'm going to put this in the title. Please, Shrek Daddy, don't get mad, please. But I thought I want to do something different. Someone you wouldn't consider, and someone you would. Who is the better mid-carder around the late 80s, early 90s? Was it the Brooklyn Brawler? And I mentioned him once a couple of times in my SmackDown review when I was talking about Wade Barrett. But I'm going to put it like this. Who do you think is better mid-carder, flat out? The Brooklyn Brawler or Jeff Jarrett? Let's see what we got, ladies and gentlemen. And if the Shrek Daddy looks at this, I hope he ain't going to want to rip my head off. Dude, I can see what's going on. I can see how he was. I had a chance to look back at some of the Raws where he was working, some of the SmackDowns, especially when he was on there. He was crap. They should never gave him so many IC championships. He was crap. But let's see what we got here. What I understand about the Brooklyn Brawler was just before I stopped watching wrestling, when he stopped what they called enhanced matches, basically jobs. You got jobbers. Back then it was called enhanced, I believe, enhanced mat workers or whatever they want to call them, but they were enhancements for trying to bring people up. he was a jobber for a while. Then when he started working with Bobby the Brain Heenan, he became the Brooklyn Brawler. And I have to say flat out, that's what I remember. You can say a lot about Steve Lombardi. I mean, he works in WWE. I believe he's working somewhere behind the scenes and helping a little bit with talent relations, the stuff they do online, helping the wrestlers. But from what I get, he was very good as a Brooklyn Brawler. And when I understand when he was Kimchi, oh, dude, when you have Kamala, I believe that's his name, Kamala, it's been a while. Dude, I liked him as Kimchi. And then when he became Doink, you can say a lot about how the WWE over the years was doing a lot of gimmicks. But Doink was something a lot of people did like a lot. For casual fans who thought it was stupid, honestly, one of the things you need to do for your product is make it varied. Have people there that are hardcore. Have people there that are charismatic, who can just be more of a talker than a wrestler. Have people who are great in wrestling, and then have the most silliest, greatest ridiculousness you can think of in Doink. Steve Lombardi was remembered for Doink, and he's remembered for Kimchi. For a lot of people, I believe. But for me personally, the Brooklyn Brawler is what I remember the best. For the simple fact, you could say he was 1/3 of Steve Austin. Steve Austin, by the time he was the Rattlesnake, he was the best they ever had since Hogan. He was that good. But if you're going to say anyone who had as much roughness as you can think of, one of those people, and there are a lot. Don't think I'm not talking about the Legion of Doom and Animal and Hawk. They were the roughest people you can think of. But another one was the Brooklyn Brawler, as far as I can see. And he was that good, at least for me. I liked how rough he was in the ring. I liked it when Bobby the Brain Heenan was his mouthpiece. That's saying a lot. You can't just get Bobby the Brain Heenan for nothing. That means Steve Lombardi was good. Now, let's see if we compare to Jeff Jarrett. Now, Jeff Jarrett's gone through DX. He did a lot of things. He did the IC Championship several times, whacking several people, dozens of people, thousands of people with that guitar. I did not see all those Raws, like I said, and SmackDown, but I got a good understanding that man was just annoying when it came to that guitar. Flat out. The only one I liked that had the guitar was a Honky Tonk Man, baby. That was it. Now, he knew when he had to swing a guitar at somebody, which was very rare, he can do a job. He can do it right. And he can work in the ring. I'm going to say this for these three people, and the Honky Tonk Man is not involved in this. But between these three people who can do good in-ring work, you had the Honky Tonk Man, and you have Steve Lombardi. And I know a lot of people say he's a mid-carder, he's nothing. He was good enough to get Bobby the Brain Heenan. That's how good he was. You cannot underestimate Steve Lombardi. And when it came to Jeff Jarrett, and I've seen some of his in-ring work years ago. I managed to catch it on YouTube. And I managed to see what was on TNA. Honestly, he doesn't have that great ring work. Out of the 5 tools you need, talking on the mic, physique, in-ring presence, telling a story, and what was the last one? I believe I'm blanking out on something. Having charisma, pretty much if I'm right. He didn't have many of them. He really wasn't good on the mic. Then and now. He doesn't really have a good physique. He don't. When it talks to storytelling, he wasn't very good in storytelling then and now. When it came to in-ring presence, I don't see that with him. I don't see a very good mid-carder. I see an undercarder, honestly, at least for me. And charisma, I don't see it. Even with his wife, that tall-ass woman with that short body, that curvy body with all those kids that she got basically from Kurt Angle. She kept that body. That didn't keep my interest. This man sucked. One of the few things he had in common, he had China. He was around like in DX. Made his company. And I'm going to leave 2 wikis in the description box, because you can see between the two, between Steve Lombardi and Jeff Jarrett. Jeff Jarrett has a bigger resume when it comes to winning titles. But winning titles doesn't mean you're better. You gotta have the ability, a very good ability. And I don't think he did. I mean, he was good for those regions, for those regional promotions. At least enough that he could have those titles temporarily. But he was never meant to keep them long. From what I understand, he didn't keep any of those titles very long. He didn't. So honestly, you have two men who have been in the mid-card, and which one is better? I say Steve Lombardi, baby. I say the Brooklyn Brawler, the Yankee Brawler, the Boston Brawler, King Chi, and Doink. 5 different personas that, out of those 5, 3 are the most memorable. The Brooklyn Brawler, you got King Chi, and you basically have Doink. He is remembered for these 3. Doink and King Chi in particular, he's remembered more than anything else. Jeff Jarrett, not much at all. Even when he made his own company, he tried to make himself relevant. And I've seen some of it. I actually have Genesis 2006. And I've seen how he is. I believe he was in there. I haven't seen it in a while. But what I remember about it wasn't that interesting. I was more interested in seeing Sting than seeing him. Honestly. Very boring. And I can tell you this from my experience right now. Essentially, the best people are sometimes not the one with the most titles, but the one that's most memorable. And that's how I feel about it. And the Brooklyn Brawler is it for me. As a mid-carder, I'm not saying he could have been an upper-carder or a champion. I don't think he ever won any champions in the WWE. Not IC, not Hardcore, not United States champion. Not United States champion. Basically, the European Championship. No, didn't win anything. But it's okay. He's still a great mid-carder. And I'll remember him for that. But Jeff Jarrett, he's a piece of shit. And he doesn't deserve any recognition for his work. He did the same work for 4 or 5 years. And it was boring. And honestly, when he started TNA, and I'll give him for this, he did a great thing when he started TNA, because TNA is still going. People love TNA, especially that he's not there right now. I can say with the Slug Daddy, he likes the Zanes, and I don't blame you. Presume Jarrett position, dude, I miss it. But I understand why it doesn't need to be there, because honestly, he may be able to help behind the scenes in a promotion, but does not mean he's good to be at the head of that promotion as its champion, its mid-card champion, or its undercard champion. This man should not be in it, period. He's not that good. He's not. He has the ability to wrestle, but that does not mean he's a good wrestler, ladies and gentlemen. For anyone who is a casual fan seeing this and say, I've seen Jeff Jarrett, he's good. I've seen him too. He's not that good. He's not. You need someone who's capable. He's good behind the scenes, but he's not good in front of the camera. He's not. Think about a year before last, in the 2011 at least, when he was doing that, basically that MMA bit, being a MMA or UFC champion type of fighter. That beyond sucked. It was a terrible storyline. He sucked. That's just a good example right there, ladies and gentlemen. So, my people who are better. From the Off the Rope show, I say Shawn Michaels. In that respect, that he had a better promotion, and he could vary his character well. Taking nothing from Sting. I still like Sting a lot. But Shawn is better. And between Jeff Jarrett and Steve Lombardi, the Brooklyn Brawler, there is no way that Jeff Jarrett's winning this. He does not have the same skills as a Steve Lombardi. He did not even have Bobby the Brain Heenan. Seriously. Like I said before, Bobby the Brain only works with the best. And he was the best, and one of the best, not the best, but one of the best in the mid-carder. So that's it. And I hope you enjoyed the Zane's view, and I hope you do subscribe and comment. I say this right now that I'm very sorry I could not do Raw. I had some severe problems, especially that I had a flood in my apartment. My apartment got flooded in my kitchen because of some moron turning on some pipes and messed up with them. So I was so busy with that, I was not able to do my Raw. I do have some information on it. So if you want me to review it anyway and connect it, please leave a comment here. Tell me if you want me to do Raw. I will be trying to get my next videos out as soon as possible. But if you want me to do a Raw as well, please leave a comment in the description. Now I hope you have a good night. And Kimchi, love you, dude.